your perspective, why did the klezmer revival take?
Why did
catch
people
on?
catch on? Yeah.
With whom? The Jews or the non-Jews?
Anyone?
In general?
Well, it caught on with the Jews because it was a moment of roots and heritage in America. The 1970s was the moment for ethnicity and heritage and roots. Okay, through the bicentennial and the invention of ethnicity, which nobody ever used as a word before, as a post-civil rights and black conflict thing. The Jews helped create the idea of ethnicity very deliberately as a protective element when they got on the outs with the black population. And ethnicity, how are you going to express ethnicity? You can be in a synagogue, but it's nice to have some other forms which are more secular forms and which don't require learning sacred languages and going to shul and things like that, which these 1970s people, suburbanized people, were not particularly as engaged in. It's before the revival of religious stuff and the invention of chavaras and minions and the going back to religious roots. This was an in-between period of a rather assimilated population who still wanted some identity. And in that world, a lot of young musicians who had grown up in jazz, folk music, classical music, and rock or whatever, and bluegrass, and who were looking for a heritage movement. To make a heritage movement, here was a music that was perfect for them because you could do it in a jazz way, you could do it in a queer way, you could do it in any way you wanted because the material was just there in a very limited, condensed amount of recordings and old-timers who had survived. Very few people had family heritage like Hank Wisniewski to draw on. So those people formed a core of activists who were just revitalized in their own funny way by this. And then it becomes called, Alpert gave it that nice word revitalization instead of revival, which is good. So they kind of, this new life was. So that was an historical moment. It coincided with the invention of world music as a marketing category and the increased festivalization and distribution of world music recordings and a circuit. So it coincided with that, so it could simply be plugged in as another channel on this thing. And in Europe, it coincided with a post-war reconciliation, a recognition of Jewish culture. That could only have happened by the 1970s when certain things had shifted. So the timing was just right there for all these different constituencies and people to recognize this and decide it was useful, culturally useful for them, personally and culturally.